Rachel, how are you?
Yeah, all good. All good today on this sunny day in tropical Manchester. So that's obviously where I'm based, up in the sunny northwest.
Love it.
Yeah, yeah, it's a nice day today. It's all good. It's all good.
Awesome.
Quite different from my former life. So just to give everybody a bit of background, I used to work in a corporate job. I used to look after 22 car dealerships. So that was my background. So I spent the life on the road, checking around, being at the beck and call of many different people, and yeah, it was quite stressful at times, quite stressful, quite challenging. I did enjoy it. I wouldn't have done it for so long if I didn't. But towards the end, it started getting a little bit tetchy, a bit toxic, and I just decided that I didn't really want to be at anybody else's beck and call. So I think one of the kind of like the major sort of decision things for me was there was a time I used to work with a personal trainer. So probably about 4 or 5 years ago now, I lost 30% of my body weight in about 4.5 months. So quite a big thing. And it got picked up by Women's Health magazine. So I actually got offered to be featured in Women's Health magazine, and they wanted me to go down to London. They wanted me to go down for a photo shoot. And do an article, which is all really exciting. There's not many times you get asked to be part of a national health, national women's health magazine. And I remember having to fight with my boss to get the time off, literally begging him to get the time off to go and do this like once in a lifetime opportunity. And that was one of the reasons why I thought, you know what, there's got to be another way. There's got to be something better that I can do. So I didn't do it straight away, but that's when I started like researching other businesses and things that I can do, and just
Right.
looking for
Okay.
opportunities to try and control my own destiny, really.
You were working in what exactly were you doing? You were like auditing and just managing
Yeah, so
21
so
car. Uh,
basically, yeah, so I used to work for a manufacturer, and so I used to just be responsible for the site. So I used to help them with the financials. We used to do training planning, marketing planning. I used to help them look at their accounts. We used to look to see where we could improve profit. I was also the liaison between the manufacturer and the dealership. So yeah, pretty much anything in between the manufacturer and the sites was my responsibility. So I had quite a diverse role, used to do lots of different things. It was really interesting. It was really, really, really interesting job, but really stressful because you had a lot of people putting demands on you at all times. And there was times I felt like I was getting pulled in two directions. The manufacturers wanted one thing and the sites were wanting another thing. And, sometimes you ended up just pleasing nobody. So yeah, it was sometimes a bit of a thankless task, really. And I think, when you're doing all that and then you're having to fight for your holidays and, you're getting things happening that are just not really on, you just start questioning whether it's actually this is the way it's going to be, and whether you actually can start doing something a bit better and taking control of your own destiny, which is what I wanted to do. I thought it might be easier
yeah.
to do something different.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, I'm spinning quite a few plates and wearing quite a few different hats at the moment, but it's certainly not 21. I'm just trying to think if it's a 5 day working week, that's like 4 a day, just over 4 a day that you need to kind of deal with, and yeah, they all want everything done yesterday, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, wow, okay,
Yeah. Well, I used to do 2 visits a day. So I used to spend my life on the road. It's one of the
right,
reasons why I ended up having to work with the personal trainer, because my diet just went out the window. So I was just living in my car, eating in the car, doing everything in the car, traveling. I used to cover from Dumfries in Scotland down to Stafford in the Midlands, and then everything around the outside of it. So it was a big old territory. It was a big old territory. And then my head office was down just on the outskirts of London. So me and Audible became very good friends. It was the only thing that kept me sane.
yeah, for
Spending hours
sure.
in the car.
Yeah, you would have got through quite
I
a few
did.
Audible clicks. Yeah, I'm
I
sure. A
did.
few
I did.
podcasts too, I'm sure.
Definitely. Definitely. So, yeah.
So can you talk about that experience? I mean, yeah, 2 years is quite a long time. Was there like a challenge there, or was it quite hard to leave that job, or what were your kind of
Yeah.
feelings around that?
I think, to be honest with you, I think, when you've worked in a job for so long and that's all you've known, you get a bit sort of, I suppose, institutionalized in a way. You start thinking this is the only way. And, I suppose you get used to that comfort zone. You get used to, not just having to, I suppose you go into a bit of a rote learning and it just becomes like day to day. So after 10 years, I'd obviously got to a certain level. I was relatively senior. It just happened because I'd known it. I knew what I was doing. So to then start learning something else, it was then pushing me completely out of my comfort zone. And it just made me think actually of something one of my yoga teachers said to me a few years ago. She said, the comfort zone is a barren land where nothing grows. So, she was like a big advocate of getting you out of your comfort zone, because she said that's the way you learn. That's the only way you'll develop and grow as a teacher. And that's the only way you'll develop and grow as a person. So I must admit, when I was getting
Love that.
Yeah.
That.
So when I was getting a bit comfortable in that role, coming up 10 years, it was like quite scary having to start at the bottom again. And I think this is what people forget, is that, it's going to be a bit icky in the beginning. It's going to be a bit, you're not really sure what you're doing. It's going to be a bit out of your comfort zone. But if you don't get out of your comfort zone, you're just going to stay in that barren land where nothing is happening and nothing is growing. And if you never try it, you're never going to know. So one thing that really forced me to sort of decide to give this a go full time was I didn't want to look back and say, what if only, why didn't I? And I just didn't want to get to that situation. I just thought, well, what's the worst going to happen? At the end of the day, it's not going to kill me. There's only like two things that are permanent in this life. And even like one of them is not completely permanent, and that's tattoos and death, So I just thought, well, is it going to kill me? No. What's the worst that's going to happen? If it doesn't work out for whatever reason, I can always go back and get another job. And I think when you start thinking like that and realizing that nothing's permanent, and that you can take choices, and that sometimes making a decision is the hardest part. And once you've made that decision, you feel that sense of relief and you can sort of move forward. I think, that's probably the hardest part, is actually making that decision and taking that leap. But once you've done it, then I suppose you get a bit of a fire up your backside to sort of make it work. And I was speaking with someone the other day that's been helping me do a bit of importing and stuff. I'm looking to start importing into from China now and India, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But she was saying to me, she just said, remember, corporate job, and it's like, it's going to work. We're going to get it sorted. It's not a problem. We're going in the right direction. It's just that's sort of nagging in my ears, and I suppose it keeps the mind focused, really.
Yeah, I'm as you well know, I love a quote, so I'm definitely going to pinch that one. Love it. Really reminded me of, well, one quote and something that's quite interesting in terms of a word that a lot of people use. So it reminded me of a quote, I think it's Benjamin Franklin. He said, most men die at the age of 25, but they're not buried until they're 75. So many people that do uni, do their studies, find their job at 25, and that's it. Life's the same the next 50 years. So and the other aspect of what you're talking about is, I was listening to someone talk about the word decide. And the word decide is actually quite an interesting word, because it's very different to choosing, because decide comes from Latin of side, so CIDE. And when you talk about deciding on your future, you're not choosing, you're basically deciding what gets to come with you and what is left behind. So you think about side, you think about homicide, you think about pesticide, suicide. Side is the death of. So if you're deciding, you're not choosing things, you're choosing you're basically deciding on what doesn't come with you in your future and what does. So I think the massive thing for you is the yoga side of things, the health and fitness, and this has just really allowed you to free all of that up. So anytime I'm trying to think about, creating a bigger, better future, it's like, okay, so what am I going to take with me? What am I going to leave behind? So it's very interesting. That quote, your comfort is a barren landscape A barren landscape where nothing
Barren
grows.
land where
Love
nothing
it.
grows. So
Barren
you
land
know,
where nothing grows. Love it. Love it.
does you
Cool.
get to get out of it.
Absolutely. So you picked Amazon. Was there anything else that you considered? Like, I don't know, um, affiliate marketing, drop shipping, anything like that? Or was it just,
No,
had you done Amazon before 2019
no.
or?
I
Right, okay.
tinkered with it a little bit. I suppose like the back end of 2019, I was sort of tinkering. I was starting to sell a little bit, but nothing sort of serious. And I suppose I was still just testing the model myself. And I suppose in a way, the reason why I ended up with Amazon, I suppose, is because I bought so much stuff off Amazon. So I thought, well, if I'm buying a load of stuff off Amazon, there's going to be people out there like me. So let's just sort of explore that a bit further. So yeah, and then I suppose I started selling it more. I started off doing RA. That's how I started. I likened it to shopping without the guilt. It was quite good because you're going to make money off it rather than run up a massive credit card bill that you sort of feel a bit of guilt over afterwards. So I quite enjoyed it. I still got the buzz of shopping without the actual guilt. And then I started moving into OA. And then I suppose it was like the back end of 2020. I think I met up with you guys. I think I'd met up with you in the summer. I'd done like a little mini course with you where it was like a little focused 4-day event where it was just to try and
challenge,
yeah, to kickstart with some products and everything. And I think I met you guys. Obviously you came over to Manchester, so I thought it would be rude not to come and actually physically meet you. So yeah, and then I started wholesaling, which is something I'd never really considered. I didn't think I was a big enough fish to be able to wholesale, which I've sort of learnt is not the case. And yeah, I mean, the orders I'm placing are still like massively a lot bigger than I was placing in the past, because the places I'm buying from have got minimum order quantities, and some of them are quite, well, what I think is substantial, what other people might not think is substantial, but for me, and we're working with my tolerances here. So this is what what I'd say to people is, your tolerance is your tolerance. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing, because otherwise you get
Absolutely.
wrapped in this comparative cycle. I've got another little quote for you. Comparison is the thief of joy. So yeah.
Run your own race.
Yeah, most definitely. So I've started wholesaling, and yeah, Eamon's helped me an awful lot with that. I mean, and also as well, it's helped me off down like a different little rabbit hole. So you might have heard me mention about the importing and the other stuff, and that is all on the back of the wholesaling stuff that I've done with Eamon, really, because we've been down to Birmingham a couple of times to the trade fairs, and it's just opened my mind up to so many different opportunities and different things that are out there to be explored. So, from my initial RA journey where I started buying stuff, I don't know, from Home Bargains and B&M and wherever, to actually where I'm sort of going now, would I've ever thought it would have segued and gone this way? Probably not. But I think it's only when you actually start on that journey that you see that there's more than one opportunity to be had, really. So yeah, it was really good going to the trade fair with them and just having somebody that knew what they were doing. Because I must admit, I mean, you've met me, so you probably won't believe this when I say this, but if you put me in a situation that I'm not used to, I can be really, really quite shy. So I was like a bit like a bunny in headlights in this trade fair, because there's all these stands and there's all these people, and I'm like, I don't know what to say to them. I'm really out of my comfort zone here. Am I going to say the right things? I'm going to say the wrong things. Are they not going to deal with me? I had all this stuff flying around in my head. So just to have somebody there just to say, right, okay, well, we're going to see these and we can talk to them about this, or you currently sell this. What about this wholesaler? And then how about trying these ones? And just having somebody there that's sort of done it and has dealt with them just made life a lot easier. And then, so that was the one in February. And then we went again in September, and I actually sort of ventured off on my own a bit. It was like, yeah, I'm feeling a bit more confident now. And I went out and had a few conversations on my own. There was times I still felt a little bit uncomfortable, but, I made quite a few contacts, met a few, good things for me to sell. Maybe not straight away, but made a lot of future things that gave me an idea for something to do in the future. So for me, that was one of the big things with it, as well as just the normal the normal wholesaling thing. I remember him getting quite excited about when my first pallet tipped up. He was like, I want a photo of it. It's like, well, it's not that exciting. It's wrapped in black plastic, but there it is.
There it is. So yeah, there might be a few excuse me, a few people watching who aren't aware who Eamon is. So Eamon's our head coach at iGen Entrepreneur. He's, yeah, I'd say about 90% wholesale and maybe 10% OA. So yeah, how have you found the support and coaching with Eamon? He's a bit of a character. I think that's a bit of an understatement. Different way of doing things, I would say, as well.
Well, I think I quite like it because I can be quite cautious, and I can probably be sometimes a bit too cautious, and I tend to overthink. I'm a terrible overthinker. So he has spurred me to be a little bit more, just go for it and just try it and just give it a go. And I think the other day I was like saying I needed to contact a brand about something, and it was like, you need to make the phone call today. And it's like, okay, I probably do need to make the phone call today. So it's just quite handy having somebody there who's I suppose in your ribs a little bit. And I suppose I liken it to the personal trainer in a way, because he was in my ribs about stuff. So yeah, I suppose Eamon's my Amazon personal trainer for wholesale, like in my ribs about ordering and getting stuff sorted and not sitting on the fence too much and just getting stuff done, basically just getting things actions. So yeah, it's it certainly makes it easier when you've got somebody there who knows what they're doing or has done it before, and experienced it before, because I'd never put a wholesale order together before. I wouldn't even know where to start with it until he sort of helped me out with it. So
there's so much benefit to kind of leveraging someone who's been there, done that, made all the mistakes, and that sort of experience. When did you join then? So just for kind of clarity, we have two programs. We have the Amazon Arbitrage Blueprint, and then we have a Amazon Wholesale Blueprint. When did you join the wholesale side of things?
It was probably back end of last year, so back end of 2021, and then obviously I started wholesaling. Probably my first order was around about February time, and then I got my unit. I ended up getting a business unit in March this year. So that's when I started like really getting into the wholesale, because I took on a unit to start taking my deliveries for me. Cool. So yeah, it was a back end of last year. So I've probably been running with it about coming up a year now.
Okay, cool. Because I would have met you September time at the fair, and then again in December time last year. Is that right?
I met you at Christmas, and then I think it lockdown's like blurred. I've lost like a year. I can't like remember where anything is. I do remember coming up to Leeds to meet you guys. I think that we had a brief time when we were allowed out, and it might have been in one of the lockdowns.
It was Leeds. Yeah, it was Leeds actually.
So it was Leeds, I think. But
I used to fit kitchens, and I bumped into the guys to work with, and I was like, "Oh, how are the kids? How old are they?" And it was like, "Yeah, one's 7, one's 9, and stuff." But we've had COVID, so they're 2 years have just vanished.
Yeah,
I thought it was quite interesting because he was like, "Oh, I can't remember." But, oh yeah, they're there. So yeah, COVID and lockdowns really do blur everything. Cool. So first wholesale order in February, and then you got yourself in a position to leave your corporate job in June, July time. Is that right?
Yeah, I had a conversation with one of, I think, somebody at the meetup in December, and they were just saying about, because I did have a little part-time job, because I left the corporate and then I panicked. I was like, oh my God, I need a job, and ended up taking a little part-time job. And I think they were just saying that's probably holding you back. And then probably on and off throughout 2022, I had a conversation with Eamon about, he's like, well, when are you going to do this full-time? When are you going to leave that safety blanket behind? When are you going to sort of,
That's interesting.
It?
So
yeah.
So you actually left the corporate side of things a lot earlier, and then felt that you had to get like a part-time job just to shit, I've got all this time now, what am I gonna do?
Yeah. Panicked, just
Right.
completely
Okay.
panicked. Yeah, I think
So
it's just you're so indoctrined in it, aren't you? You know, if you've worked for a company for 10 years to suddenly not work for somebody, it just seems like such an alien concept. To me, it did. And I panicked a bit. And yeah, so then I ended up doing a bit of a part-time job. And then, you know, the various conversations were like, that's really holding you back. You're not going to be able to do what you need to do if your energy is being taken somewhere else. So that's when I decided, yep, we're going to do this full time, after Eamon probably nagging me for about 2, 3, maybe most of this year, actually, about leaving that part-time job.
so do you think you could have done it earlier then?
I think if I would been more confident, yeah, probably.
Right. Okay.
I bottled it basically. So that's the thing. And I think, you know, for anybody that has worked for a long time, it's that making that transition from working for somebody to working for yourself. And if you've never worked for yourself before, it can be a bit of an alien concept. And I suppose it is like that safety blanket being taken away. But, you know, I think you've just got to realize that I'm not saying just go and quit your job. You know, it needs to be right for you. But, you know, if you just take the ethos that it's not going to kill you, as long as you can survive, and it's not going to put you homeless or anything like that. I mean, don't be making any rash decisions. You know, do your figures and know where you are and what you need to sort of keep things going along. But I think once you feel comfortable, it is just a case of taking that leap of faith and saying, right, I'm going to count on me rather than me counting on somebody else. I'm going to take a chance on me. I'm going to count on me.
But I think it would be cool if you could kind of discuss what you've been doing with iGen for the past couple of months.
Yeah, so now I'm obviously part of the iGen team. So we have strategy calls where we can get together, we talk about your business, and we just work out, you know, any pinch points, any questions that you've got to ask, you can talk to an actual real live human, which is always nice. And also as well, just to see if there's anything that we can do to help you move forward, because, you know, I obviously got a lot of benefit. I am getting a lot of benefit from the wholesale blueprint. Like I say, it's sent me off down some different directions that I maybe wouldn't have thought would have been possible. But not only that, I mean, it's like connecting me with some other people as well. So for me, it's not just a course. You know, I've met people through doing this that have offered me other opportunities as well. So yeah, it's you know, it's funny when I look back on things that have gone really well for me. It's when I've worked with other people. So like when I did my gym thing, you know, losing like 30% of your body weight, you know, in like sort of 4.5 months is, you know, no mean feat. But I did that with a personal trainer. You know, he was working with me, he was keeping me on track, he was there for me to ask questions. So yeah, it does make it a lot easier when you've got somebody there that you can just ask the questions to, that's been there, that's experienced it, has maybe come up against some of the blocks that you're experiencing, rather than just a pure course, you know. So yeah, it's good to be able to speak to people about stuff, you know, and stuff that spoke to you as well.
But it's all this information not just on YouTube for free.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I could have spent like forever like YouTubing how to lose weight and how to do videos and how to deadlift and all the rest of it. And yeah, I don't think I would have done it in 4.5 months though, you know. And I don't think I would have been getting picked up by Women's Health magazine to be featured in there if I'd done it on my own. There's no way that there is loads of information out there, but I suppose it's how do you put it all together? And I think it just would have taken me far too long. I probably would have given up because I wouldn't have known where to start. So rather than having someone saying, right, this is what we're doing, we're going to do this for this week, we're going to do that for that month, you need to maybe look at this, you know, this is like your list of foods, that type of stuff, sort of structuring me out with the diet and giving me the knowledge. So he basically gave me the knowledge. So now, obviously, 5 years later, I've not put the weight back on because I now know what to do, because I've been given that knowledge, I've been given that education, I know my way around a gym now. I think then that led me into the yoga teaching, because I've been practicing yoga for about 15 years and I didn't have the confidence yet. That once I'd lost the weight and been on that fitness journey, it then gave me the confidence to become a yoga teacher. So again, it's a bit like what I'm doing now with the wholesaling, is I've done the RA and the OA and I'm doing the wholesaling, and now I'm going down other little avenues. I'm now looking at a brand, I'm building my own brand. I'm now looking at importing stuff. Now, would I've had that confidence if I hadn't had somebody guiding me through and helping me navigate? Probably not. So it's like what I said before, like, you know, the stuff that I've done particularly well at, it's normally been with somebody who's been more experienced or educated in that area that's given me a bit of a leg up, really. And yeah, not have to spend hours sifting through YouTube videos, going down a rabbit hole, and probably end up watching cat videos, knowing what I'm like.
Yeah, it sells newspapers, gets eyeballs on news stories and things. And I was watching I was listening to someone yesterday, Notable, and talked about competition and collaboration. So a lot of, basically the school system sets you up pretty badly for the workplace because, well, we're not going to spend hours on this, but I could spend hours talking about the school system. But yeah, I mean, when you're at school, you've got exams and you've got homework, and if you collaborate with someone else to do your homework, that's a slap on the wrist. You're not meant to do that. And if you're in an exam hall and you want to sit next to someone to collaborate to do your exam, that would be you kicked out of the exam hall. But as soon as you're into the workplace, you're meant to collaborate with people and work with people. So yeah, it's a real kind of mismatch. And I'd definitely say that collaboration is how you kind of navigate away from competition, away from that toxicity. So yeah, it's massive that you've really embraced that and you've met people through what we're doing, and everything like that. It's that's the real trick to it, really.
Well, it is. It's that, and also just having somebody, I suppose, just have a little attitude to keep yourself sane, because that's one thing. I've gone from being in an environment where I've had people around me all day to just being me, my laptop, my VAs who are not around me. And it's like, well, it's just nice to, we're as humans, with tribe, we have a little tribe. We like to have a little tribe around us. When we talk about yoga, we always talk about finding your tribe and your collective of people that you work with. So it's nice to have other people within the community who you can, just say, hey, I'm having a bit of a, I'm losing my mind a bit, just have a bit of a chat, a bit of a banter, just like get your head back on, and then you're back in the game and off you go. Or just to sometimes just say, hey, what's happening? Are you having this issue? Just people that you can actually talk to, and not be so like, this is my train set and, I'm not sharing it and everything. Because I think if you've got that attitude, I think, and seeing everyone as a competitor it's people are, but they're not, if you know what I mean. And dirty tactics and stuff like that. I frankly haven't got time for that rubbish. If people want to play dirty, crack on. Karma will come get you. It's not really my thing, but I'd much rather, share what I've learned with people and try and help people and work with people to maybe get a better result, because, working with other people, they might have a different slant on things. You only know what you know. You don't know what you don't know. And just like by sharing and working with somebody else, you might get a different take on things. And it could set you off down a whole different route. You just don't know. You just do not know.
Yeah, that's so true. That it really is. Well, we'll kind of, there's a couple of questions coming through. So, I think the main kind of way to introduce this is, obviously you've sat on quite a few strategy calls recently. What is your kind of feeling with people wanting to start or even kind of scale their business on Amazon at the moment? What's the general type of feeling?
I think people are generally that, they don't, I suppose it's that initial investment, isn't it? It's that investing in themselves, and they're sort of worried about making the expenditure, the speculate to accumulate type thing. It's like, oh, well, once if it doesn't work out, or I'm not sure, or I'll need to go and read up on it more. So I suppose it's being fearful of, are they going to get back what they're sort of investing? It's that type of thing, really. So it's that, being fearful of laying the money out, really. So it seems to be that's holding people back. So I'm sure that if they thought it was guaranteed, or if they couldn't lose, my gym actually did sort of do a bit of a guarantee. You had to put the work in, mine. I couldn't have just sat on my backside eating cakes and then said I've not lost any weight. That's not really how it's going to work.
Yeah,
I would love to be able to do that.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be
awesome. But I can't really see my trainer being too happy with that. I had to put the work in, I had to do the food diaries, I had to do the training sessions, but they pretty much guaranteed results. It was like, well, you're coming with us, we're going to get you sorted. And if we don't get you sorted and you've done everything we've asked you to do, then we can have a conversation about, getting you reimbursed. Because it wasn't a cheap process at all. It was quite a high-end gym. The sessions were quite expensive, but for me, it was an investment in me. I saw it as investing in me. So once you've got that knowledge, once you've had that investment, it's yours to take with you.
Yeah. So we've alluded to this a couple of times. Basically, Rachel and I put something together where we will guarantee this. So what this is going to look like, if you're sitting on the fence thinking, okay, these guys are doing quite well on Amazon, both full-time, quit their corporate jobs a couple of years ago and this year, and they seem quite confident, and I am open to investing in myself. We are going to basically just make sure so Rachel is going to be hosting strategy calls for anyone on this live, or I'll ping out an email in the next few hours as well, and anyone who jumps on a call to discuss support, and we'll go through where you are, if you've started your business, what your business looks like, if you haven't started, what you want to get to, and we'll look at your financials. So if you're saying, okay, I want to quit my job in this time next year, and you've got financials there to support that, we'll actually put a guarantee in place. So we'll come to an agreement on a call, basically from whenever you start on a program with us. We'll put together a plan over either 6 months or a year. It's generally 6 months, because 6 months is quite achievable to get to where you want to. And as long as you put the work in and show up the training and implement what we advise you, if you're not where you want to be within that time frame, 6 months, we will offer a money back guarantee. So we do this with a lot of confidence. We're confident in what we're doing. And the reason that we want to do this is that there is a lot of fear at the moment. There is a lot of, uncertainty, but we want to cut through that and actually give people some reassurance and some confidence to actually move forward with whatever it is they want to create in terms of their future through an Amazon business. So that's what we're going to offer. Rach, is there anything that you kind of want to just clarify with that offer?
No, it's just, I think, again, it's like I said, you can't not do the work and expect the result. You've got to put the effort in, and you've got to, it's a capital business. So, you're going to need to have a bit of money to invest, actually to buy the stock and everything like that. So as long as you've got that available and you're willing to invest that, then and there's a set process in place to try and help you to get where you need to be. So it's just one of those things that you need to get. But I'd say I suppose it's just having that confidence to get going. I suppose it's just believing in yourself and just thinking, I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to really give this a try to sort of change my own destiny, so that I don't have to have somebody tell me when I can and can't go on holiday, and, deciding what you can and you can't do. Because it does make a massive difference when you can decide what you want to do and what you don't want to do. But also as well, I mean, I find it I probably work, I can be a bit, I was a bit of a workaholic in my last job. But now with the stuff I do, I'm more than happy to, because it's for me and my business and my future, my legacy. If I'm working really, really hard, it's for me, it's not for anybody else. So the only person it benefits is me and my family. So it's a very different ethos to have. And, sometimes it's not it's not all sunshine and unicorns. There's sometimes I do question my life choices, but then at the end of the day, I think, well, it is my life choice. This is what I've decided to do. And if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. I think life is too short to be doing something that makes you miserable. So I do actually enjoy the buzz. I enjoy research side of things, just the fact that every day is different for me. It's certainly not Groundhog Day, that's for sure.
Yeah, every day is different. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people that we'll speak to, like, yeah, when I quit my job, and yeah, I mean, the reverse is true as well. I mean, if you've got a job that you love, and you just want extra capital coming through, it's a great position to be in as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to set like a capital goal to earn whatever it is in 6 months' time, say an extra £1,000, £1,500 a month profit, the same guarantee will apply. So we'll work with you to say, okay, to earn that amount of profit, you need to make that amount of sales. And to make that amount of sales, you need to spend X amount per month and keep that rolling over. And we'll literally work all that out for you, Nicole.
Yeah.
So
it's good. I mean, that's the beauty of it, Lloyd.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, you can have. I mean, you basically just say, it's like, that's the beauty of it. If you don't have to go as a full-time seller if you don't want to. So there'll be a lot of, one thing I've noticed on my journey, one thing that I've been trying to stay through is there's a lot of people saying you should do this and you should do that and you should do the other. You shouldn't do any of that. The only thing you should do is what's right for you and what's right for your journey and your business. So if you love your job and you want to stay in your job, crack on. If you have the Sunday night fear where Monday morning's coming and you're just feeling sick because you're going into the office, that is not a good space to be. So, if that's you, just, definitely start having a think about what you want to do to try and change that. But yeah, if you want a nice side hustle, you want some extra pennies to go on some nice holidays now that we can actually travel again, and, you can do fun things. So yeah, or even just to build up a little bit of extra money for yourself, a bit of a, rainy day fund, whatever floats your boat and makes you feel safe. You've got that opportunity to do that. So, that's the beauty of this business. It can be pretty much how you want it to be. There's no right or wrong way, to get where you need to be.
Yeah, I think ultimately what people probably feel like is that they don't have many choices as well. So this just gives you another kind of choice. If you've got kind of a business growing in the background, I mean, I had two VAs before I left my job, and it was amazing to kind of wake up at 7, have a meeting with them, and then go into another meeting, and kind of see the difference between being managed and being the manager. It was just, you will learn skills that translate across. There's so much to it. So yeah, if you're interested, jump on a call. It's a free call. Set aside about an hour. There are some pre-work videos to go through. That just means you're not jumping on a call going, okay, what's it all about? You'll have context on how it works. So you can basically deep dive with Rachael, sit down, work out a plan, and if you want some reassurance, if you want some support to action it, we're here. We've done this for 200 plus clients, and if you want a guarantee as well, we can put that in place as well. So set a target, set time frame, and we'll just start. So we've had a question come through as well. So Rach, is there anything to add to that?
What, to the question that they've asked, or to the?
Yeah, to the call, and what else is kind of covered on the call?
No, I think just make sure you've watched the videos. Obviously, have a bit of a think about, your why. I think that always helps. I think having a why with anything always helps. It tends to give you that focus. So, if you don't know why you're doing something, it's like, well, yeah. And I know sometimes with my corporate job, there's a lot of tasks I felt like it's like, well, why the hell am I doing this? So yeah, it's good to have a nice clear why that actually motivates you and fills you with joy. So just write down what that is for. But yeah, just make sure you've done the sort of the looking over the videos and just having a bit of a think about what you want to do, where you want to take it, where you want to sort of go on your journey, really.